Good afternoon. We have people who are joining in right now. Welcome, welcome. This is our monthly forum on the age-friendly forum series, and we're super excited today. We have a great team of people who's going to be talking about some of the things that have been implemented for elders over the past year, and it's just taken a couple minutes for everybody to be able to log on, and we'll just let you get in comfortably, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome again. My name is Cindy Cummings. I am a volunteer with Austin Up, and I am helping to moderate and continue our forum series. Our series has gone throughout 2021. We've got a couple more forums that are coming up in November and December. We hope that you will join us. In November, we're going to be talking about transportation, and December we'll be talking about social participation. So those are our new topics for then. This month, we're going to be talking about buildings and how appropriate that we have a whole group of people who participate in our libraries across the city. And we are so excited to have you all here today. We've got a great panel. What I'd like to do first is introduce our panel, if I could. Our first speaker is going to be Emmy Johnson, and Emmy oversees innovation and improvement at the Austin Public Library. And she serves as the liaison for interagency collaborations and strategic community partnerships to support initiatives and priorities. Our next is Jace. Hey, Jace. He's a reference librarian at the Austin City Library. He co-created the library's job portal and job coaching services, in addition to assisting with sustainability and digital inclusion events and programming. Our next is Michelle. And Michelle is the managing librarian in the Twin Oaks branch at the Austin Public Library. She has worked for the Austin Public Library the past 16 years as a youth librarian, materials selector, and adult librarian. Welcome, Michelle. And last, we have Kayla, and Kayla is the Youth Services Librarian for the Willie Mae Kirk branch of the Austin Public Library. And she works to provide programs and resources for children and families in her service area to encourage play, literacy, and fun. So we have a potpourri of people from the library, and they're all located in different locations. We're so excited to hear more about what the library has been doing in 2021 through COVID, et cetera. So Emmy, take it away.
Thank you very much. And we are so pleased to be here and showcasing some of the cool things that libraries do. We are open to any questions as we move through our presentation. Please feel free to ask those, and the moderator, Cindy, will also ask us questions. Here we have just a sampling of the types of programming and services that we have designed and developed to engage older adults. Much of these will be intergenerational. That certainly is our goal. And you'll see kind of where we have taken some in-person programming and made them virtual. And we have a small discussion piece that Jace will present to assist older adults in engaging online. That has been an effort of ours and continues to be going forward. So here's our first slide, just broad sweep of who we are. We have a main central library downtown. Many have known about this particular library just recently opening up in 2017. But we have so many other branch neighborhood libraries nestled in our communities, and they're wonderful. We invite everyone to try to make it to their nearest library. We also have the Austin History Center, and it will go through some renovations and things of that sort, but it remains open on limited service hours. We also have Recycled Reads Bookstore, and that's just a kind of a fun place to go through, and the low cost items like 50 cents or $1 make great presents and gifts for folks, but you can find some treasures at our Recycled Reads Bookstore, and they're on Burnett Road. Next slide, please. So some of the things that we have learned in the last year and a half, couple of years, is our need to turn outwards. And we're making a concerted effort to be where people are. And that means that we need to get outside, we need to get into our community spaces. Collaborations and partnerships with our community-based organizations are critical to the success and our outcomes that we look for and our impact for Austin Public Library. So you will see some of these as you'll hear about them as the team talks through their pieces. However, you will also see us. We will be more visible. We will be in pop-up resource clinics. You'll see us online and presenting this in different forums. St. David's Foundations is presented here. We have many other community-based partners delivering community services. So we are truly more than books, and we are library without walls. That's kind of where we want to move, and I think we're doing a great job. Next slide, Jace.
I can take over
Oh,
from
you want to
here
take
as
it from
well.
Here? This is awesome. Yeah. So I'm going to leave the team to just carry it on forward. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Emmy. Yes, and I'm Jace. I'm one of the reference libraries at the Central Library. And one of the questions that we get a lot of is, are you open? And the answer is yes, we are open. We're offering express services, and we've actually been back open for in-person services since last April. There was a year that we were closed to in-person services, but even through that period, through most of it, we were offering curbside service. So we've tried to stay connected to the community through this very strange time. So what does express services mean? Well, the main thing that it means is that we do have some capacity limits at our locations. We ask our customers to wear masks. And also, not all of our seating is returned. So if you've been to the Central Library, you know, it's a really large space. We have seating and table throughout the library. So a lot of those are spaced out to encourage social distancing. But other than that, you can come in the library, you can browse the shelves, you can check out material, you can print, you can copy, you can scan. We have all of our Wi-Fi running at Central in our branches. You can apply for new library cards. We just resumed our interlibrary loan services. That was down for a while, so we're offering that again. We're doing holds that you can request and then pick to have sent to any of your preferred locations and check those out. And the reference team is here, and we're offering technology and reference help. We are doing that in person, on phone, chat, and email. And I'm going to touch on a few of those later. So all of our branches are open right now, except for a few. So Cepeda, Pleasant Hill, Terrazas, and University Hill, those are still in the process of reopening. And we have had to pull back some of our curbside service. So while you can come inside any of our open locations, you can only request curbside service through the Central, the Manchac branch, North Village, and Spicewood. So we kind of have a little bit all across town there. So we've been in a little bit of a holding pattern, as I'm sure you can imagine. A big part of library services are offering those kind of in-person events and opportunities to meet with your peers and to meet with people from different generations and different walks of life. We have a really diverse community, and we are down with it's stage 3. I know on the horizon we're looking at and very excited to offer in-person programming. But what we've been doing throughout the pandemic, we've had a number of virtual events. So you can see some that are highlighted here. We have a controversy and conversation series in which everybody views a film and then can discuss some contentious issues of the day. We have a number of book clubs, including an older adult book club. We also have a true crime, romance, graphic novels, classics. We have an LGBTQ book club, a Read Around the World book club that highlights books from other countries and cultures. And then lastly, Read, Watch, Talk, which is another kind of combined film and book. People kind of compare and discuss. So those you can all do from home. In addition, we have some other virtual programs on the horizon. We've got a Adulting 101 and a big one that we're doing. This is the second year we're doing this virtually. We'll have our holiday craft crawl this December 3rd. This is a long running series where people used to come in. We would come into the library while it was closed and work on crafts. This is actually something we even did before the Central Library. So we've had this for a long time. The way this will work remotely is we'll be putting together kits that you can then come to the library, check these out, and then join in virtually with different library staff that will walk you through at home, building these crafts and kits from home. So that's a really exciting thing to look forward to. And we're also still doing our talk time, which is English conversation practice. And then fingers crossed, soon we'll have Practiquemos Español back for those looking to learn more Spanish. From here, I'm going to turn it over to Kayla and Michelle to have them go through some of our nature-based programming and other activities.
I'll take this one. So I'm going to talk a little bit about two things that we actually have going on in person outside right now. On November 6th, it's a Saturday, the first Saturday of November, from 10 a.m. to noon at the Willie Mae Kirk branch, the branch that I'm at right now. We're having something called the Harvest Fair. It's going to be a drive-through event this year, just because we weren't sure where we were going to be in stages, but the hope is that we'll continue this each year, and it's going to be in person and just this really awesome fair experience. But really our point for this is to share the resources regarding health and food access to our community. So we're going to have a lot of organizations out to share information about what they offer to help supply food or health resources to our community. So we invite you out. Some things that will be giving out during this event while supplies last. We're going to have seeds from our seed collection, which I'm pretty sure you'll hear more about in a bit. Mini garden starter kits. Tree Folks is going to be there handing out tree adoptions, and these are actually sapling trees that produce fruits so that people can plant these and have produce to grow at home. We'll also have produce boxes and more that's going to be supplied, and each of our organizations is going to be giving out information about what they do. But this is a program that we're putting on with the American Heart Association and the City of Austin's Office of Sustainability. So a bunch of groups are coming together to put this on. So we invite you to come out. It is drive-through at this time, but we're hoping in the coming years to expand this and to have it as a really fun atmosphere. But this is for everybody, the whole family. It's free. So come out and see what we're doing. And then I'm going to talk about drive-in story times, which we had our first one. So we actually use an FM transmitter. And you'll see some pictures here where families sat in their car or in their trunk, and we actually performed an in-person story time for these families. And we actually have a few coming up in the future, as you'll see, November 10th at the Southeast branch at 10:30 a.m. and then Saturday, November 13th at the Ruiz branch at 10:30 a.m. So this would be a great family event. We use our cars, we honk our horns and swish our wipers and things like that. But we're looking to use this resource in other ways. So some ideas that have come up is doing like an old time radio show that people can tune into and listen to, basically a reader's theater. So we're brainstorming new ways that we can use our FM transmitter and do some really fun outdoor things for our community. So please, if you have any ideas, let us know how we could use that. But everybody's welcome to join us for these next few events. Bring children and grandchildren and family members. It's a really fun time. And Michelle, I think you're going to take over for Story Walks. Oh, you're muted.
Thank you. Okay. Well, at the Twin Oaks branch, one thing that we pondered while we were closed is how can we still communicate with all of our customers? What can we do to still promote literacy? And I heard that there was grant money available for programs for older adults. And I was like, oh, we could use that for a grandparent story walk. So story walks are basically picture books cut up and put on signs, probably like 3 to 6 feet apart, so that you can, and it's a great combination of like a healthy walk that you can do as a family and promote literacy and reading. So We've done a series of 3 grandparent themed story times or story walks, highlighting grandparents and the grandparent-grandchild relationship from different cultures. Right now, we have one up at Twin Oaks, and it's The Last Stop on Market Street by Matt De La Pena. And it's just kind of a really fun activity. It's been fun to find the best way to display these stories. At first, our ground was very hard, and the signs got knocked down, but we've re-established it on our fence. The Parks Department has also done some story walks, and they recently donated one to Kayla's branch to Willie Mae Kirk, and that's that Backyard Fairies story walk is up right now. I don't think, because the story walks are a passive program, I don't think that we have had them advertised on our website. We're still kind of exploring like the best way to talk about these kinds of things. So that's a really good question and something for us to think about, because the library did just get a $25,000 grant from the state of Texas to create permanent story walks at 3 locations. So the last picture that you see here is an example of like a permanent fixture that makes it easier for us to change out the stories, they're less exposed to the elements. So we're going to be getting those within the next year at the Millwood branch, the Twin Oaks branch, and the Willie Mae Kirk branch. So we're very excited about that. And I know once we get those in the ground, we'll be doing a lot more promotion to talk about those. And hopefully we can be better about promoting these types of programs in the future. Another thing that we have done during the time that we were closed is we have at Twin Oaks, we have some sensory gardens, and those we have them, they're out where on our property that you can access without the library being open. So we had some teen interns this summer that planted them for us, and they appeal to different senses. Like we have lamb's ear, which is really soft to feel at different heights, so they're accessible for all people, and just different visual, taste, touch, and then we have some wind chimes for sound as well. So we have had those so that people that are walking through the neighborhood can enjoy as well. And several branches have butterfly enclosures. Now that we're open but not doing in-person programming inside, we still have things for people to see and do. So several branches, including North Village, Ruiz, and Yarborough, have these butterfly enclosures where they have milkweed, and then they put caterpillars in there so that people of all ages that come into the branch can observe the life cycle of butterflies at the library. And then when the butterflies are ready to come out of the cocoon, they have like a launch where people can launch the butterflies. I know at Yarborough, most of the butterflies have been launched at this point, but Yarborough still has some caterpillars on their milkweed right now, if you'd like to go visit. All right. And one thing that has been in the works, still trying to think of more outside activities that are always available, no matter what our hours are. We are in the works of getting a rubbing plate scavenger hunt at several locations that highlight local flora and fauna of the Central Texas area. So kids can look for all 10 and learn more about birds and plants that are native to Austin. So that's what we've done while we're closed. Hopefully, as we're revving up to do programming again, and are really looking for ideas for older adults, but we'll probably get to that at the end of our presentation. So I really look forward to programming in person as well in the future.
Thanks, Michelle. I'm going to jump back on and talk about APL's garden buds. And you might be asking yourself, what's a garden bud and who can be a garden bud? Well, anybody can be a garden bud. It started as kind of an internal group of library staff that were interested in primarily gardening, but also sustainability and sustainability related topics. And like we've been discussing, we found ourselves working from home for a year. And part of that, myself and many other people developed APL Plus, which was a way for us to provide more virtual programming while we couldn't meet with folks. So a lot of these were, we have both children and adult content, whether it be story times, little book club snippets. But Garden Buds kind of spun out of this with us, looking at different garden topics. So you can see here in the top left, a little snippet from the video. These are all collected on our Vimeo page. And here my colleague Kate there's a video kind of going through in her garden, making homemade recycled plant nannies. So taking a jug and kind of being able to extend the season a little bit, and with these kind of watering implements. In addition, we have videos on growing from cuttings, tips for cool season gardening, recipes that you can take ingredients from your personal garden. And we also have a video on Austin midsummer gardening. So I definitely recommend y'all check those out. Another part of our program is the seed collection. So we've had a seed collection at the Central Library since around the beginning of 2019. We don't call it a seed library because we find that can be a little bit confusing. We prefer a seed collection because the way this works is you can come at the Central Library. It's on the 6th floor in the northwest corner. We have a lovely old card catalog from the original Austin Central Library, which is now the History Center, that we've repurposed to house the seed collection. Right now, we have over 2,000 different seeds in the collection with 65 kind of general seed types. And since 2019, we've had over nearly 8,000 different checkouts, which is lovely to see. A lot of these have started basically, so the way that it works, you come in, you can take out up to 4 packs with you. You can, if you want to then grow your plants out and donate, save your seeds and donate them back, that completes the cycle, but it's not required. So it's not a checkout. We're not going to say, hey, did you grow these out and return them? Sometimes you have a great harvest, sometimes you don't. But what's been lovely to see is we've already started kind of cultivating our own heirlooms, where we've had a small batch of seeds that somebody has grown and saved, and then they've been checked out and turned back in, and seeing those multiple generations of seeds that do really well here in the Hill Country has been an awesome experience. It's all done with really without any funding. So we do purchase some envelopes. You can see in the bottom left corner there, some little coin envelopes that we pack the seeds in. Other than that, it's all donation based. We have lovely partners with the Central Texas Seed Savers who have done a lot of work getting the Central Library started, as well as we have now 5 branch libraries with seed collections. And what I would love to see, I know coming down to the Central Library, it's a lovely space, but it can be a little bit of a hurdle getting down here. And what I'm so excited to see is all of these small seed collections sprouting up all over town. So we have, in addition to Central, we have one at North Village, Ruiz, Twin Oaks, Willie Mae Kirk, and Yarborough. So if you are a gardener and you're looking for seeds, or perhaps you want to pass on some of your own seeds, I highly recommend you go into your neighborhood branch. If they don't have one, bring it up to the branch manager. We have kits to help them get started. We have lots of resources. There are tons of community gardens around town. So we're trying to connect people, share our passion for gardening and the environment. So the seed gatherings, this was another, these were ongoing meetings that we had before closing. We haven't been able to bring these back until we can offer programming, but we would meet once a month here at the Central Library. Volunteers would come in, we would process donations because we get donations, we save our seeds, but it's time consuming cleaning all the seeds and getting them into packs. So we were very lucky to have regular volunteers coming in, helping us process those. And it wasn't just work. We got to talk about what we were gardening, tips and tricks, experiences, and we're really, again, able to connect over that shared interest. In the meantime, seeds still need to be processed and we can't meet in person. So what we've done is we have these small kits of unprocessed seeds that we've been lending out to folks who are then taking them home, processing them on their own. So if you are interested in being involved before we're able to offer that in-person programming again, I can make sure you get my email. If you let me know, we can get you a little seed pack so you can start helping us process those and getting them into more folks' hands. Here you can see in the top left, this is the picture of a recent seed collection from Twin Oaks at Michelle's branch. So here you can see it's another card catalog, but really these are unimposing. You just come in, you pick your seeds. We do have an information guide that covers the Central Library inventory and a little bit more about the program that I'll touch on. I just wanted to share another initiative that the Green Buds, the Garden Buds were a part of was Eco Day. This happened just before it was one of our last big events. It was our last big event before the pandemic kind of ground everything to a halt. But what we had, it was, and I forgot to mention that we have had some seed swaps before. That was kind of tied into the collection, just gatherings where we've done presentations on seed saving, local varieties that do really well and allow people to trade seeds. So we went from that kind of small seed swap and our seed gatherings and wanted to really have a full day event to bring together local organizations and people that are excited about sustainability and gardening. So we took our event center. You can see here we had in the middle picture, we've got our seed swap and we had plants being swapped. We had children's performers. There were over 20 local organizations, including tree folks, permaculture gardeners, the Mycology Association, Parks and Recreation were there. And it was just we had outside, we had a local artist doing sidewalk chalk with the children. So it really felt like there was a really lovely diversity of folks. You can see in the bottom left corner, we also had a bicycle part swap. So the outside of the library was taken over by bicycles, people trading and sharing resources there too. And that gives you a little sense of the outdoor area. We have a lovely garden planted with indigenous plants, many of which are labeled with their scientific categorization. So it's a really lovely walk outside the library. Anyone that hasn't been to the Central Library, I strongly encourage you to. And you can, in this area here, we're in that picture on the bottom left, we are near just Shoal Creek there. So you can kind of walk around the library, enjoy our garden, and then wind down under Cesar Chavez out to the hike and bike trail where you can have a lovely walk. Strongly recommend that. And then, so moving on from our more nature-based programming, I wanted to talk about some of our virtual resources. As was mentioned in my introduction, I was part of the team that developed our job portal and job coaching services. We actually talked to Austin Up while we were still working from home about some of those opportunities. Let me see if I can get the portal here. Is everybody seeing this? Perfect. So the job portal, it was, we thought while working from home that a lot of folks were going to be encountering difficulty with the job market. And we have a lot of information guides, which I want to show you all as well. But we wanted something for folks that may find themselves in crisis, or just there are so many, perhaps people who have been in one position for a very long time and found themselves for the first time in their lives, either having to reapply for a job in a world that had changed dramatically or needing to change careers. So our job portal is just a really simple way. We go through some really key issues that someone might face, starting with the basics of having an email address. We help a lot of people who just don't even have an email address or have very little experience with computers. This is another one of the APL Plus videos we've created. It's just kind of giving you another sense there. So people can go through, get their basic, whether it be help with their resume, interviews, and things like that. It's just a lovely collection and a very concise collection of resources. We really wanted to narrow this down to just the core things that someone might need. In addition, we wanted to make this as personal as possible. So we have a job coaching service where anybody can come in and make this request. The requests come in to me and we'll pair you with a job coach. And this can be help with your resume, help with your cover letter, setting up an email. We've had folks who have just never completed an application online. So we'll work with them and go through those steps. This has also been a nice, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of our digital inclusion and digital literacy, and having the job coach system in place has been, it's just nice to, we have nearly 40 different coaches across the city. So we're here, we're excited to help folks. And thankfully, as we have reopened, we've had a steady stream of requests coming in. So we'll have anywhere from 2 to 7 job coach requests every week. I'm going to jump back over to slideshow. All right. Ask a librarian. So as a reference librarian, we're always here. Any questions you may have, you can see our contact information here. You can also find this on the Austin Public Library's website. If you look under Ask Us, you can get our contact information. So anytime that we're open, you can text, call, or email us. And whether that be a question about your account, if you're having trouble with your virtual resources, you're looking to volunteer, any of those questions can come into those different channels, and we will get you directed to the person that can best help you. Next, I'm going to talk about our information guides. So these are kind of a little bit harder to find from if you don't know what you're looking for. So I'm going to take you in here through the library's homepage, underneath virtual library. I'm sorry, these videos are making it hard for me to see. And then down near the bottom, there are lots of links here. You can see our information guides. So we have 62 guides in total on 15 different subjects. These range from Austin community, books, consumer issues, education, genealogy, health, history, and more. And then so you can look under subjects, you can see all of our guides. I wanted to just highlight a couple of these. Underneath Austin community, I referenced the Seeds and Sustainability Guide. So here you can find lots of helpful information about our seed collections. Here's a photograph of our seed library up on the 6th floor of the Central Library. And we have lots of wonderful resources here on the right, including a Meet the Seeds guide that my colleague has put together. And it goes through every type of seed that we've ever had in the collection and gives you information on all of those. So that's a nice resource. We also have our current collection inventory. So if you're looking for a particular seed, you can hop in here, kind of go through the catalog, see what's available, and have a better sense for making your request. You can then come in and check them out yourself, or you can also use that Ask a Librarian if you want to pick these up at curbside of the Central Library. We can also do that. So you don't even have to come into the library to access these. We have some different plant calendars, lots of helpful resources. Do note that the information guides have tabs at the top. So we have some Spanish resources. We also have all the list of our different branch collections, as well as their contact information. And then we have the links to all those garden buds videos that I told you about as well. So this kind of gives you a sense. These information guides are always library curated. So each librarian has different guides that are assigned to them. And there can be so many things and so much information that it can be overwhelming. So we really try to curate and package different topics to make it easy to use. In addition, we have, so under Austin community, we have a senior living in Austin. This is a great collection of resources dealing with continuing education, health issues for seniors. We also have organizations and advocacy. So these are, as you can see, there are lots of really anything. It can be so tricky to keep track of so many different resources and links. So I highly recommend you all to maybe get on this site, and you can bookmark it to easily access it. One other one that I wanted to highlight is our, let's So civic engagement. This is really nice if you're looking for some volunteer opportunities. We have opportunities by cause here. So whether it be community places you can volunteer with, animals, which I really love, that sounds delightful. And then down here, you can even see some age-specific opportunities. So whether it be for the whole family, and then we have some senior opportunities here. So lots of lovely links to local organizations, some tips on getting involved, whether it be through voting or even running for office. Lots of helpful resources there as well. I want to take, I'm going to return to our virtual library. I'm going to go ahead and move on to talk to you all about our digital literacy initiative and outreach. So this has all been within 2021, kind of getting back in the building. We had some grant funding come in to work on digital literacy for kind of those within the that are excluded for whatever reason. So with the funds, the library purchased 100 of these digital outreach kits. So each kit had a laptop, your power supply, a backpack, and a hotspot. So these were not loaned to the individuals. We loaned them to our partners. So we sent 60 out to HACA and 40 to foundation communities. And then the experts there were able to identify people in their communities and then get the technology into their hands. Unfortunately, what we found out was they had the technology, but having technology and not knowing how to use it, it doesn't really do a whole lot. So many of them had never used a hotspot before, especially with our HACA participants. Many of them are in their 70s and 80s. One thing that I've found is that many people have phones, but they know how to do certain things on their phone. But whenever you get a laptop, it's a little bit different, and it can do many of the same things, but it also opens up new opportunities. So the main thing that we found as we started getting in calls was we really needed to figure out what were the needs and interests of our community. We could try to guess, but we wanted to just ask them. So a team that I was on, we made hundreds of calls trying to get in touch with folks who were very generous with their time. And we did a basic kind of needs assessment. And also we wanted to see what they were interested in, what were their skill levels. And then in so doing, we began developing a curriculum to meet these needs. And while having classes and all of these things, that we are still working on are wonderful, for me, it was important to meet the need as soon as possible. So we started taking in calls, and then as the numbers in the pandemic subsided, the main challenge is that a lot of these folks who need help have a really hard time receiving help on the phone. You really need to be in person. There are so many barriers when you don't have a shared terminology and you're not seeing the screen. So we decided to start going out to the North Loop apartments, in particular, North Austin, going into their community room, everybody masked, social distance, but working one-on-one. And it was just such a wonderful experience. Just seeing the lights come on in people's eyes when they realize what they have and what they can do, whether it be connecting with their healthcare provider, with their children. So many lovely stories. And so we were doing this every Thursday. Unfortunately, with the Delta variant, there was some concern about continuing that offering in person. So we've pulled back. Right now, every Thursday, we are still taking phone calls, and we can do virtual meetings. But again, it's pretty tough to get somebody in a virtual meeting when they're still trying to learn how to use a laptop. We're very excited for the pandemic to make it where we can do this in person again, if things will return to some form of normal. Our Carver Branch Library has a career center and a computer center. At the Central Library, we are looking at trying to have more of both in-person opportunities for folks to come in, and if they are having trouble with their own devices, we are helping people with devices that we sent out, but we quickly found there were people in these residences with their own technology that they didn't know how to use, and it doesn't matter to us. Anybody that is having technological challenges, we are thrilled to help you. We want to continue going into the community and also welcoming people in person as soon as we're safely able to do so. So we're going to move into questions in just a moment, but I wanted to just let everybody know our virtual library. Let's say if you don't feel comfortable coming into the library, that's totally fine. We have lots of lovely resources. Some of the main ones that I would recommend, if you just want to go under entertainment here on the library's website, virtual library, and then entertainment. The main ones that I want to point out to you are going to be Overdrive Libby. So Libby is an app that's provided by Overdrive. You can get an app for your phone. You can also go to their website. They have a lovely and thorough collection of ebooks, audiobooks, a wide range of magazines, current issued magazines, and streaming video that you can all access with your library card from home. Hoopla is the other big one. There's another third-party company, so they have a different collection, but they also have movies, music, TVs, audiobooks, and more that you can access from home. If you're interested in newspapers, you can also find our magazines and newspapers. This virtual library link is one I would definitely recommend saving. But we have a variety of papers. A main one, we have a photo Austin American Statesman, so you can see scans of up to today's paper for free from home, which is an incredible resource. And then we also provide access to the New York Times. So with this, you can go into the New York Times website or app and get a 72-hour voucher that will give you full access to the New York Times. And then you can always request another voucher in 3 days' time. I will point out Newsbank and Factiva is two other great sources for newspapers and magazines across the world. And if anybody has any questions about those, we can touch on them a little bit more. But I think we can go ahead and move into questions.
Well, Jace, there was a question asking, I believe this is for, Michelle answered it, but if somebody was wanting to get that assistance with technology, who do they call right now?
Yeah, so going back, let me go back. So back to the Austin Public Library's homepage, under Ask Us, just go down to Contact Us, and you can go into your local branch. And you can always just go up to the counter, and if they're not busy, they can walk you through it. At the Central Library, we always have 3 librarians stationed on floors 4, 5, and 6. So there's always somebody here while we're open that would help you through that. But if you don't want to come in, you can also just call a librarian, 512-974-7400. Select option 1. Anytime we're open, we will walk you through the trouble. So, and we get calls that if somebody trying to connect with their virtual library or whatever. So, and some of these calls can take 30, 45 minutes, but it's just so satisfying getting to the end of that interaction, having the patience to work through the kind of difficulties. And then at the end of it, knowing that somebody is able to access our content is just makes it all worth it.
Well, thank you so much for the presentation. We do have some questions that we'll be asking you all, but before we get started, I wanted to introduce somebody else who came on, and that is Everett. Hey, Everett, we see you down there.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Do you have any questions for me specifically?
I was just gonna do your formal introduction, and then if you don't mind just being there when we have additional questions and just answering them as they come up. So Everett is a program specialist on the community services outreach team, and he serves as a resource for the library staff, supporting the design and delivery of digital literacy and navigation services to our communities. So welcome, Everett. So let me, I've got some questions, and then this is the time, and I should have let everybody know that this is a great time for you all to put your questions in the question and answer area or in the chat area, and we'll be happy to ask everybody who's on the staff those same questions. So let me begin with the first one. The first one is, in designing these programs and spaces, what did the library consider to be inclusive or welcoming of older adults? And any of you can take it. So whoever would like to answer the question, that'd be great. And Jason, if you don't mind, if you want to go ahead and take down your presentation, we'll just have all of the different moderator or panelists listed there then. So who would like to take that question?
I can take that one. For our outside programming, we want to make sure that everything's accessible. So we have a lot of green space at the library, but we made sure we put the story walk along the sidewalk so that everyone whether they're in a wheelchair or walking, like that everyone can access both our garden area and our story walk. So that's one thing that we have been thinking about, and just also like what could appeal to people of different ages. I know we've been brainstorming not limiting our story walks to just stories, but we might like feature like poetry or art of older adults in the future, is one thing that we were thinking about for all ages.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like you guys are extremely innovative. I'll just say the whole seed thing, I'm like, oh my gosh. I have a personal question. So let me ask you this question. Why do we need your seeds and not Home Depot seeds? Or why can't we order seeds from someplace else? And I think it's going to be telling what you say, Jace. Why is that?
Well, you can. I mean, you can, purchase seeds, but I think that first of all, plants are incredibly prolific and abundant. Like one plant can produce enough seeds. I've had some luck with a particular variety of cucumber that have provided so many seeds that have then been shared across the community with other people. And for me, there's a magic to it, and also just an opportunity to connect with other people. And then as I mentioned, heirloom seeds are basically seeds that are grown in a particular spot. You save the best seeds from the plant and then grow them again. And through time, these seeds will develop resiliencies. And just you can get certain varieties that have through generations of growth adapted to a particular region. So and also I just think it's nice to be thrifty. So why buy if you go in and get 4 packs from Home Depot and maybe you spend $6 to $8, but you can stop at the library, get some for free, and then share your own seeds. So, and some people put their names or little stamps on the seed pack. So it just it gives a lot of personality and
I was thinking,
connection.
yeah, the success rate might just be higher too, because you're using seeds that are from this region, because when you buy seeds from someplace else, you have no idea, how it's going to do in a particular area. Sorry, I have so many questions. I have hundreds, but I'm just going to go ahead and ask these questions. What future plans do you have for outdoor programming?
Well, at Twin Oaks, we have great outdoor spaces. So we're hoping in December, since it's outdoors, to have a book sale from a lot of our book donations. So if you're looking for gifts or things for that. Also, we have an outdoor amphitheater. So we're looking to do like some free music series in the future. I know we have a Jewish group from South Austin is going to come do an outdoor Hanukkah celebration in December, or the very end of November too. So we have lots of different things in the works.
So what's the best way to find out? Should we go to the individual library if we live in a particular neighborhood, or go to the main library to find out about those events, or what's the very best way to find out?
If you go to the library's main website, there's a running list of programs there, and it's all of the programs at all of the locations. But you can sort it and say, I want to know what's happening at Twin Oaks, or I want to know what's happening virtually. I think there's even an older adults tag as well. So if we have any programs that are specifically targeted at this age group, you can search for those as well.
Do you have an email distribution list? Can we get on an email list to get those, or do we just go to the main website?
There is a newsletter that when you sign up for your library card, you can opt in.
Okay.
I don't know if Jace, or if you know another way to sign up for that newsletter if you missed it the first time.
I can't remember off the top of my head right now if there's another way around it, but you could always just ask branch staff, and they can check the box to get you added to that as well.
Yeah.
Great. We just had a question come in. Let me divert a little bit. So the question is, have you considered partnering with the city to make these story walks available across Austin parks to make it easier for communities that can't easily access library locations?
We are part of a larger group called Cities Connecting Children to Nature. Where we are, there have been talks and some sharing with the Parks Department. In fact, the Parks Department just shared one that they made with us. And that's what's at William A. Kirk right now. So definitely we're in the beginning stages of sharing these. I know many Austin ISD schools also developed story walks during the pandemic. So there are a lot out there, but you may just have to discover them.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, I think those questions were all caught up there. So let me ask another one. What opportunities do older adults have to get involved with the library? So do you have volunteering kinds of opportunities available, and how would they get involved in that way?
Do we have a volunteer coordinator right now at the library? Have we hired one? I don't know the positions. Yes, there is someone working as a volunteer coordinator. So if you want to volunteer with the library, I don't have it off the top of my head. I can look it up real quick if you want. But there's a phone number for our library, our volunteer coordinator, and they have an email also. You would want to get in contact with that person, and they'll be able to get your name to, and let them, they'll take into account your interests as well, to try and find a good volunteer spot for you.
Excellent. And it looks like Michelle has shared the link. So this is a good thing for everybody who's on the Zoom call today. There is a chat area. And if you go to the chat, you'll see the questions that are being answered or asked. And then you'll also see the questions being answered with some links. So please do go to the chat for that reason. Okay. I love this question, and maybe each of you can answer it if you have one. Can each of you share a story of an older adult who was impacted by your program or your service? And we'll go ahead and start with you, Kayla.
Yeah, my grandfather actually, oh, sorry. I mixed up that question with who was impacted by my program. Sorry, I was thinking of someone who had impacted me. But my grandfather does not work here. No, actually, right before we closed down. So I primarily do youth programming, but the cool thing about youth programming is that's a whole family event, especially with young children. They can't bring themselves to the library. So we rely on those older family members and friends in those children's lives to bring the kids here. And so I had a program where we were crafting, and it was primarily for kids. But I actually had an older adult come, not knowing who the group was for specifically. And of course, we were like, join us, because everybody, who wants to do this, we want to be involved. And it was really cool to see this intergenerational activity going on of an older adult who was doing a craft alongside a 3-year-old and having a conversation with them and making a new friend, even though they didn't know each other before. But yeah, so things like that in our library, I think that's what makes community really awesome, is that, you can be doing something alongside someone who's very different from you, different age, different background, and you can find common ground and find something to talk about. So that was a memory I cherish, because I think it was like my last program before we had to stop programming. So I have a very vivid memory of that. Yeah.
Hey, Jace, you got a story to tell us?
I do. So in going out to with our meeting with HACA residents, as I mentioned, it was lovely getting people connected with with their doctors, and someone was able to connect with their grandchild for their birthday. But my favorite one is someone who she came up to me and she was a little bit sheepish, and she let me know that she was a widow and she had heard about this website called catholicmatch.com, and she didn't really know what online dating was. This woman was, in her 80s and had been married for maybe 50 years. So I got to kind of walk through and kind of explain to her how online dating works and pick her picture and I didn't like create her dating profile, but it was just one of those things where some people take these things for granted, and she was so excited to be able to take her computer. And I think administration would prefer me to highlight maybe other things, but for me, that was just so touching because she was so exciting. And knowing that this kind of box that she had just, her laptop that she didn't really know how to use, this is what she was interested in. And for me, I don't care what you're interested in. I don't care what you want to read. As long as you're reading, as long as you're using the technology and doing what you want to do with it, I think that's just beautiful.
I love that story. Michelle, do you have a story?
Oh, sure. I think we help people, older adults here, almost every day, use our apps for a virtual library so they can listen to audiobooks or ebooks. I recently helped someone sign up for Uber Eats to be a driver to make some money on their schedule. But probably the story that comes to mind the most is I taught a Cricut class, which a Cricut is a digital die cut machine before the pandemic hit. And there was an older woman in this class who wanted to make her granddaughter doll clothes. And she had been like an excellent seamstress her whole life, but her arthritis made it hard for her to cut out the patterns. Because we had those machines here and we kind of had like an open house, like one Saturday a month, she could come and we could put the digital pattern in the machine so the machine could cut it out for her so she could still sew. And just being able to make that kind of difference in people's like quality of life to help them live their best life and do what they want to do is like really what the library is all about to me.
Yes, it seems like you're empowering people on so many different areas. It's so interesting, whether it's doing an art project or a computer or whatever. Everett, do you have a story to share?
Yeah, I have a lot of stories about various customers that I've worked with over the years for digital skills. One that really stands out in my memory, though, was this woman who came in and she wasn't from the United States, but she had moved here with her husband, who was an American, and he had passed away. And she came into the library because she wanted to try and find a job. I think she had worked at some point in the past, but it was like work that her husband had always kind of secured for her. Like she had never like applied for a job or anything like that before. And like kind of the process of talking to her and getting her information and helping her write her resume and engage in communication with prospective employers, and like how she started to kind of see herself differently just from the interactions. It was really meant a lot to me because she was later on in life, and really to see that process of discovery in somebody was really amazing.
Mm-hmm. These are great stories. Thank you for sharing them. What programs are on the horizon for your branches? So each of you, if you just want to go through. Kayla, is there anything exciting coming in to the branch that we need to know about?
Yeah, so I mentioned the Harvest Fair. So that's the big thing that we're working on right now. So November 6th. And I was going to mention about that. If you have difficulty getting to our location, the giveaway bags that we're handing out, we are setting some aside. So please feel free to call any of those numbers and ask them to connect you with the Willie Mae Kirk branch library or library number, and let us know. And what we'll do is we will work with you to get that to get that bag for you. So if you have trouble getting there that day, we still want you to have access to that. But right now we're planning, it's not set in stone, but we're planning a family outdoor picnic event. We would really love to have this for anybody, provide food and have art or music available, a free event. So that's something we're kind of planning and hoping for the early spring. So yeah.
Excellent. Jace, what do you have on the horizon?
Yeah, so a lot of our programming is still in flux as we're waiting to be able to offer it again. Though we're trying to refocus our programs and really focus on equity, diversity, and inclusion. So people from diverse backgrounds and diverse age populations. I mentioned the craft crawl coming on December 3rd. I would really urge y'all to check that one out. All of our book clubs are still happening. We do have art exhibits that you can come in on the second floor of the Central Library. Many people miss our art space, so you can see art inside. And we actually, in the area near Shoal Creek, where I showed you where we had the bicycle swap, we have an exhibit right now called Legends Mosaics, and it's a collection of artwork depicting Austin's courageous women of color leaders throughout Austin's history. So that's outside right now, and a lovely exhibit.
Lovely. I love it. Michelle, what do you have happening?
All right. This Friday, or no, not this Friday, next Friday after school, we're having a family Halloween outdoor activities and dancing and stories at Twin Oaks from 3 to 4:30. And then since we're just reopening our programming, we're busy planning right now. So I haven't, the Hanukkah program is in the works. And once we have those dates and everything ready, we'll post them on the library's programming website. So we're planning that, and the book sale probably in December, and in February, the Austin Opera is putting on an opera about Steve Jobs. So in January, I'll be hosting some book clubs, both a virtual and an in-person one. I mean, as long as everything goes right, and we'll probably be open to in-person programming in January. So we'll be doing a Steve Jobs biography book club in conjunction with the Austin Opera, which should be really fun. And we're really looking forward to starting up our 50 Tech Plus program again, which is a weekly drop-in program for older adults to come ask us questions. I mean, you can come ask us questions anytime, but in the past, this was very popular at Twin Oaks, where people would bring in their devices or ours, and we'd show you how to organize your photos, or get Libby and listen to an audiobook for the first time. So look for those coming soon on our website.
Excellent. Everett, what do you have?
Well, next week we'll be going, the plan is at this point to start offering in-person technical assistance again at the North Loop Apartments facility from the Housing Authority. So I'm really looking forward to that, being able to actually, go out there and help people again. And also we're working on developing a sort of a mobile computer lab library that we can, deploy to places where maybe they don't have computer labs or libraries, and do, more programming, in places that aren't libraries. So that'll be really exciting once we have that up and running.
All of these just sound so great. And I know right now I heard from Emmy that there's several new grants that you're writing, and potentially there's going to be a ton of new programming available too from those grants. So all of these things cost money. So you need to have donors and people like that, which reminds me, let me just say who the sponsors were of today's event. I forgot to do that. the whole age-friendly program plan came together with the help of AARP and the City of Austin. They are some of the sponsors for today, along with United Healthcare, WellMed, Oasis Senior Advisors, Cummings Home Team, Waywiser, Shelf Genie, Essential Next Steps. So those are just some of the people who have funded these forums, and we're so appreciative of them. I'm just looking through the additional questions. I don't see any other ones. I might have missed some.
Ooh, I
Oh,
have one.
Oh, good. Yes.
I wanted to ask, as we're starting our planning for programs in the future, I'm really interested to hear what kind of programming everyone out there would love to see for older adults, because we really want to respond to the needs of our community.
Michelle, maybe what we could do is do some kind of partnership. You all could put together the questions, and then we could get the questions out to the people, because we have a huge database and lots of people
Great.
that we communicate with all the time. And who doesn't want to share their opinion? I would. I mean, especially if it can impact, programs and services that you're able to go to for free. So why don't we do something like that together? So we'll get together and we'll get some questions together, and we can just put them out, to our constituents and see what they have to say. I'm assuming that's probably the easiest way. You did put your email here. And so if people want to email Michelle, they can go ahead and tell them what they want. But yeah, I think it would be a great thing to do, is to just go out there and ask them about some of the additional questions that you might have. I know a lot of potential technology programs might come about through the library too, just to add on to what you've already done, which is incredible. And there is such a digital divide. And I know there's lots of different organizations that are trying to solve it, but it seems like you have really worked with a lot of other partners in the city to implement a plan that actually worked. Because like you said, you can put the computers in people's hands, but if you can't help them log on or be able to understand how to use it, then what's the point? So, I mean, big claps to the library. I hope you continually get funding to be able to grow that program. So let's just look through here one last time. I'm going to ask our event coordinator, Natalie. Natalie, do you see any questions that I might have missed that we should pose before we go ahead and say goodbye?
I do not.
All right. So unless y'all want to have any other comments, I think we are done for today. And we're tickled. We really are that y'all could come, being able to take your time out of the day. I know your schedules are super busy, and we just really feel like the library has added to seniors and their lives in Austin. You have improved their lives, and we thank you for that. So goodbye, everybody. We'll see you in November. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having us.